I died 3 times, and on the last one, I begged to stay. But God sent me back because there is something humanity is forgetting. She died 3 times, and she asked to remain, not out of exhaustion, not out of fear of life, but because what she saw in the moments when her heart stopped beating made the other side feel more real than anything she had ever known. Her name is Lily Hartman, 13 years old. She lives in a small town where the wind sings through the windows each night like the whisper of someone who doesn't want to be forgotten. And in that seemingly peaceful place, fate chose her to witness a truth most people are not ready to face. Lily was an ordinary child. She went to school, rushed through breakfast, and sometimes forgot to pray before dinner. She wasn't skeptical, but she wasn't devoted either. Then the accident happened. The car lost control, flipped 3 times, and exploded like a slow-motion scene with no director. Lily saw her body from above. She heard her mother screaming while the world around them fell into stillness. But that silence was not the end. It was only the beginning of a doorway. From that moment on, Lily entered a journey no one could prepare for. Not doctors, not priests, not scientists. Only a small soul and a growing light, drawing her not toward a destination, but into the very center of a truth that humanity has long tried to avoid. But the first thing Lily saw was not heaven. It was a place without light, without voices, where souls that didn't know they had died still wandered, searching for a door that had never opened. And it was there that the second death began. Before the light appeared, before even the first death arrived, Lily Hartman was just a child like any other. She lived in a small town in Colorado where the rooftops turned white in winter and the long nights carried the scent of dry grass and cold air. Her father died of a sudden heart attack during a church service when Lily was 6, leaving the family in a nameless void. Her mother, once a woman who believed in the sacredness of silence, became even quieter after that. Lily grew up at a dinner table where the sound of spoons tapping against plates said more than any words ever did. She didn't lose her faith, but she had never truly understood what faith was. Sunday church felt more like a routine than a relationship. Sit down, sing along, listen to a few verses, and go home. In Lily's mind, God was something distant. Not cruel, not kind, just unreachable. She often wondered, if God is love, why did my father die? Why does my mother cry when she thinks I don't see her? No one answered, and time slowly taught Lily the language of silence. Just like her mother. At school, she didn't stand out. She wasn't the smartest, she wasn't bullied, she wasn't in the spotlight. She simply existed in the background. But inside her mind, there was never true quiet. She would often look up at the sky, not to dream, but to feel how small she was, as if she were asking a question no one ever heard. Then, one afternoon, as ordinary as all the others, destiny chose to break the silence. Because sometimes God doesn't send messages through scripture, but through the sound of shattering glass, a stopped heartbeat, and a soul being pulled from flesh to begin again in the very place where everything seemed to end. That day began like any other. The sky was gray, and melting snow speckled the windshield. Her mother was driving Lily to pick up a few things for an upcoming birthday party. Lily sat in the passenger seat, one earbud in, eyes watching people pass along the street. A soft song played, blending with the wind and her mother's voice asking something she didn't quite catch. Then, everything ended in 3 seconds. A truck ran a red light. Tires screamed. Her mother yelled. Lily turned her head. A flash of white exploded, like someone had switched off the world. There was no pain, no blast, just silence. Lily opened her eyes, but not her physical ones. She was looking down, watching herself. A small body was crushed within twisted metal. She saw her mother screaming, blood on her forehead. She saw paramedics rushing in. She screamed too, but no one heard her. No one looked up. She reached out, trying to touch someone, anyone. Her hands passed through everything like smoke. Light, cold, no sensation. She was no longer a body. She was something else. At first, Lily panicked, but then a strange calm came over her, as if a voiceless whisper told her not to be afraid, that she was now standing in the middle of what was truly real. She saw light begin to surround her, not blinding or harsh, but warm like an immense embrace. No more pain, no more time, only a weightless relief like she had never been burdened with a body at all. And in that moment, something began to pull her back. Not forcefully, but gently and irresistibly, like a thread tied to her chest, tugging her home. Lily wanted to stay, but something unspoken told her it wasn't finished. The light vanished in an instant. Her eyes opened inside the ambulance. They were shocking her for the third time. She gasped like someone rising from the depths of the sea. But that was only her first death. And the strange thing was, after coming back, Lily didn't fear death. What she feared was what she hadn't yet seen. Because her second death, only a few hours later, would show her something no book on earth could ever prepare her for. Beauty doesn't always come from the light, but from the truth a soul can no longer run from. The second time Lily died, it happened during emergency surgery. The heart monitor went flat, a cold, unbroken line across the screen. But for Lily, that moment wasn't an ending. It was another opening. This time, there was no confusion, no desperate calling out. She stepped into the light as someone who had been there before, someone who had only briefly stepped away. And the light was no longer just a white curtain. It was space. It was music. It was the fragrance of memory. It was every beautiful feeling she had ever known, all alive at once. There was no sun, yet everything glowed. No instruments, yet melodies flowed around her. With each step, the ground felt absent, not because it was empty, but because she no longer needed gravity to know what was real. In front of her, a field opened wide. There were no flowers, but there was fragrance. No wind, but the air moved. Everything felt like a dream, except the emotions were too real to deny. And then she saw her grandfather, the man she had never met in life, only seen in an old photo in the living room. He stood there, much younger than the man her mother used to describe. But Lily knew it was him. Souls don't recognize each other by faces. They know by the thread that binds them inside. He didn't speak. He simply opened his arms. And Lily stepped into that embrace as if she had done it 1,000 times before she was even born. In his arms, she felt memories that didn't just belong to her, but to her entire family. As if in this light, every life was part of a single woven tapestry. Not far from them, two small points of light approached. Children, yet without defined forms. Lily stopped. And suddenly, she understood something no one had ever told her. She knew who they were. One was a boy, the other a girl. No one had spoken of them. But souls don't need words to remember. She felt love pouring from them like the deepest kind of belonging, and she knew. Her mother had lost 2 children in silence, carrying that pain alone her entire life. In this light, Lily knew everything without needing to ask. Everything was at peace. There were no more questions, no need for answers. But just as Lily felt ready to stay forever, a presence began to radiate greater than all light, stronger than any sound, yet as gentle as a lullaby whispered in the womb. A presence that silenced every soul and drew them toward it in quiet reverence. Jesus appeared. There was no crowd to welcome him, no golden trumpets, only a truth so undeniable that no introduction was needed. Lily wasn't afraid. She felt complete. But before she could move closer, another stream of light pulled her back, faster this time. There was no voice, no refusal, just a current that carried her. She gasped awake in the recovery room. A nurse froze in disbelief. Her mother collapsed in tears. But Lily didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just looked up at the ceiling where the light had once hung and whispered, "I saw."
But the most profound, the most powerful, the most terrifying part wasn't in heaven. It was waiting for Lily in the third and final death. The moment when she would meet the Lord, not to be comforted, but to be entrusted with a message that would force anyone who has ever doubted to look back into the mirror of their soul. When Lily died the third time, no one expected her to return. The doctors had done everything. Her heart stopped once more. Her breath vanished. The emergency room stood still beneath the blaring alarms. But in that very moment, beyond physical life, Lily entered another realm. There was no light, no music, only an infinite space where everything was transparent yet carried weight. She didn't float, she didn't walk, she simply existed. And at the center of that existence, a figure appeared. Not radiant, not towering, not imposing. But the instant he emerged, every question inside Lily fell silent. Not because she was subdued, but because she was known fully, entirely, with nothing left to hide. Jesus looked at her not with eyes, but with truth itself. Lily felt even her smallest thoughts, the words she never spoke, the times she turned away from what was right out of exhaustion, the moments she doubted her faith. All of it passed through her being like a reel of film, not judged, but undeniable. And Jesus didn't speak at first. He simply opened his hand, and when Lily touched it, an entire world unfolded within her mind. She saw humanity, millions, billions of souls living at once. Some singing hymns with hearts full of hate. Some poor people, yet their eyes burned with light. She saw empty churches where people prayed but didn't truly believe. And she saw children like herself, quiet, full of questions, dismissed as too young to understand. She saw loneliness hanging over the human heart like a thick fog. And she understood that what God wanted her to bring back wasn't a warning. It was a truth. Humanity has forgotten how to love one another.
Jesus whispered, not in words, but in understanding. He showed Lily hell, but it wasn't fire or demons. It was a frozen space where souls could no longer connect. No one hated, but no one remembered how to embrace. No one knew how to pray. Each soul was trapped in its regret. No one called out. No one remembered why they existed. And God said, "Hell was not created, it is chosen, by indifference, by the refusal to love." Lily wept, not from fear, but because, for the first time, she felt the pain carried by Christ, a sorrow that is not born from rejection itself, but from watching each beloved soul choose to drift farther away. She saw him regard every person with an unchanging love. Whether they denied, doubted, or despised him, that love remained whole, and the magnitude of it made Lily tremble. Then he asked, "Will you carry this back?" It was not an invitation to tell a sensational tale, but to plant the simple reminder. Once humanity knew how to love, to forgive, to see one another as family, and that reminder is fading from our collective memory. If no one keeps it alive, the light will quietly withdraw. Lily did not answer with words. She nodded. The moment she did, Jesus placed his hand over her heart, and a gentle ache moved through her, not in flesh, but in spirit, marking her with a fragment of truth. She knew she would never again be the ordinary girl she had been. What she carried was both gift and weight, yet she felt no fear, because she had glimpsed something more frightening than death, the forgetting of the light. When Lily opened her eyes in the hospital room, no one understood the small radiance now shining inside them. Only hours later, as she began to speak of things no one had taught her and no book had described, those who listened felt certainty rise within. The mind may question, but the soul recognizes truth, even when reason cannot. When Lily opened her eyes, the room was flooded with harsh hospital light, colder than the radiance she had just left. The doctor froze in mid-motion, the nurse dropped her pen, and her mother broke into tears. Yet Lily neither panicked nor asked where she was. She simply stared at the ceiling as if confirming that she had truly returned. After a long moment, she whispered, "He said we are forgetting how to love one another." No one understood at first, and they dismissed her words as delirium. Yet hours later, when Lily began to speak with a strangely gentle voice, everyone in the room felt something shift inside their hearts. She did not tell her story like someone recounting a dream. She spoke as one remembering a truth long known. She described the space between souls, the cold that does not come from temperature but from loneliness, the people standing in the light yet unable to step forward because they could not forgive themselves, and the souls who could be saved the moment someone called them by name. She said, "We are not condemned to hell, we walk into it ourselves every time we choose indifference instead of opening our hearts." Lily did not preach, she did not shout, she did not threaten. She spoke with her eyes, and even the hardest faces bowed, not out of fear, but because beneath the dust of their daily lives, they sensed a soul that once knew how to love, to trust, to hope. Each day after her return, Lily wrote in small notebooks. She recorded every detail Jesus had shown her, not to keep a diary, but to guard against forgetfulness, because his final instruction was not, "Tell the world you met me," but "Keep that light alive within you, so that anyone who looks into your eyes will remember that they once knew the way home." Not everyone believed her, and Lily understood that the real test had barely begun. Carrying light is easy. Keeping it alive in a world that doubts its existence is the challenge that lies ahead. In the chapter still to come, Lily would face what no one had taught her: how to plant a seed of faith in hearts that have given up. Lily returned to school 1 week after leaving the hospital. Nothing on campus had changed. The courtyard still buzzed with voices, laughter echoed down the halls, teachers kept teaching, and friends chatted about movies and social media. Yet Lily herself was different. It was not distance or pride, but a quiet depth in her eyes, as if she carried a secret too large to express. Some students whispered that she was a miracle. Others claimed her story was only a trauma dream. A few scoffed, while some remained silent but watched her longer than usual. Lily offered no explanations and started no debates. She simply sat apart and wrote, not a diary, but careful notes meant to preserve every sacred detail before the tide of ordinary life could wash them away. One afternoon, a teacher knelt beside her desk and asked whether she was certain she had seen God, or if anesthesia had played tricks on her mind. Lily smiled and did not argue. She understood that truth never depends on winning an argument, it only asks to be lived. If the light is real, it proves itself. Sometimes during recess, a classmate would sit beside her, remain quiet for a moment, then ask what she saw when she died. Lily would answer without grand words, explaining that heaven is near enough for any heart that stays warm, that God rarely shouts, but waits for us to listen, and that a soul need not die to awaken, but only pause and hear. This story is not only about Lily, it is about you who are reading or listening. The message God entrusted to one girl is meant for every soul walking through life while forgetting who they are. The final part carries a gentle reminder that no one should miss.
Lily had died 3 times, yet a single glimpse of truth was enough to change her forever. She did not become a preacher, did not write a bestseller, did not appear on television. She stayed in her small town, went to classes, helped her mother in the garden, and studied for final exams. Still, anyone who spent time with her, anyone who met her gaze, felt something inside begin to crack open, a hairline fracture just wide enough for light to slip through. God never asked anyone to shout his name. He asked for lives lived in awareness. In her quiet way, Lily became living proof that death is not frightening. What is frightening is living while forgetting that the soul once knew the light. The last words she whispered before stepping away from the camera were these: "He didn't ask me to change the world. He only asked me to remind people they can still come home."